and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about a palette that I received in my January BoxyCharm subscription, and that is this PUR Bronze and Brighten palette. We are going to play around with this a little bit because I've been playing around with it for a little over a week now, and I have some thoughts about it, and we will get into all of that. I'm not going to talk about PUR as a company. I usually do talk about the company of the products I'm going to review, but I've done a few reviews on PUR, and I'm just going to put down below the links to the other videos that I've done reviews on, so if you care to learn more about the company, you can go there and do that. What we are going to do is talk a bit about this palette specifically. I'm going to tell you how I used it. I'm then going to use it how they recommend that you use it, and then give you my final review. So let's hop into talking about this product. Also, timestamps for all of this will be in the description bar down below, so if you feel like jumping ahead to a different part of the video, it makes it a bit easier to do that. So this is a new product. If you go to PUR's website, it's listed as coming soon. It is the PUR Bronze and Brighten, and it does say that this palette is the Dreamer palette. It is a cheek palette. I don't know if that means that they're going to be coming out with other Bronze and Brighten palettes with different titles for them. But for now, this is the only one that I see on the website. And the three shades that are in here are called Blushing Glow, Afterglow, and Mineral Glow. So when I first received this, I thought that this was a highlighter palette, partly based on those names and partly based on how highlightish these colors are. They all have a lot of shine and reflect and are very sort of that not metallic, almost like liquidy looking shine to it, but that's not what it is. It is in fact a blush, highlight, and bronzer palette, and this is made in Taiwan. This is $34 American, I believe that is, and you get a lot of product in here. You also get a nice large mirror. What else can I tell you about this? I will tell you what they say about it on their website, which is that it is an on-the-go highlight, bronzer, and blush palette. The three skin perfecting powders create an effortless and sun-kissed glow on every skin tone. So this is supposed to be for every skin tone, featuring our cult classic Afterglow highlighter and Mineral Glow bronzer. This palette introduces a new blush shade, Blushing Glow. Throw this in your makeup bag and you're ready to go, or ready to glow, they say. Basically, it says to sculpt, shape, and define the cheekbones with richly pigmented blush, bronzer, and highlight. And they say, as for all their products, they are 100% cruelty-free, and that this is paraben-free, and they also tell you all of the ingredients that are in there. I'm going to do a quick swatch of these three shades to show you why I did not try this as a bronzer. I did try it a little bit as a blush. Mostly I've been using that highlight shade, but I'll just do a quick sort of 3-finger swatch. Okay, I went in a little hard. That came out a little bit chunky, but I'll just get this in focus. So if you look at the shine that are on those, like, I'll just smooth those out a little bit because I did make it quite chunky. Like, those are really pigmented and really shiny colors. So although I have not tried this yet in the way that they say you should try it, makeup is nothing if not fun to play with. So I brought in my brushes that I would normally use for blush, highlight, and bronzer. I have my makeup on except for blush, highlight, and bronzer, and I thought this would be a good time to play around. It's supposed to work with every skin tone, and see how this does on me. I am going to try to make this work. I'm not going to go into this trying to set it up to fail. And we will see how it does. So I'm going to zoom you in so we can get a little bit closer, and then I will be applying this to my face. I'll also point out that I used this on my eyes today. I used my PUR Soiree Diaries palette to do the mattes in here, and then I used the Afterglow shade, the middle one there, to do the bright parts of my eye look, and it's quite nice for that. So okay, here I have my big fluffy crown brush. This is the Jumbo Kabuki, and I like using this for bronzer. I don't always use bronzer and contour and all that kind of stuff, but when I do, I tend to use this just because it kind of fluffs everything out nicely, and I will go into this. Okay, so it's not quite as crazy pigmented as I worried it would be. I was using a really light touch both into the product and on my skin there. Oh wait, did I? Interesting. I thought that was going to look really shiny, and it's not. And it's not quite as crazy deep for my skin tone as I expected it was going to be. I did powder all of my face and everything. I do find it's a little patchy. A little patchy on my cheeks, but I'll do the other side as well. Ooh, that's not great. I'm a little too heavy-handed there. It's not too bad for blending. It's interesting how non-shiny that looks considering how really shiny the product looks when you swatch it. It's a touch more orange on my skin tone than I would like it to be, but it's not that bad. Next, we're going to go into the blush, and this one I have tried using as a blush. Oh, this is a lot more powdery. This one is really pigmented. So I have tried using this as a blush before, and I remember that I had to really tap off my brush. Yeah, see, I can see a sheen on it. I'm not one for really shiny blushes. I have a lot of acne pitting on my skin from when I was younger, and I just find that really shiny blushes tend to highlight that. Yeah, the blush isn't my favorite. And finally, I'm going to take my highlight brush and go into Afterglow. It is a little powdery. Like, it is glowy, and even though it's on the gold side, it does blend nicely into my skin. I have been using this over the last couple of weeks as a highlight, and also as an inner corner highlight on my makeup looks. So there is the final look with all three of the products being used. So my thoughts are that PUR proved me a little bit wrong, because I really went into that thinking I'm not going to like this as a bronzer whatsoever. And I will say it's not my favorite. It pulls a little bit orange on me. It was a tiny bit patchy when I was blending it. And the blush is not for me just because it does have a sheen and a highlight-ishness to it. Now, I know some people really like that kind of thing as a blush topper. So you put most of your blush on and then you just put a tiny little bit on the apples of your cheeks to highlight your cheeks. But for me, this is where my texture really is. So I don't mind doing some highlight here, but I try not to make too much shine there because it just starts to emphasize things that I don't want to emphasize. I think that the highlighter is nice enough in here. I just don't know that the whole set of three is special enough for me to want to buy the whole thing over again. I am more likely to want to buy a bronzer that is the right bronzer for me. For me, that would be something that is matte, something that's a little bit lighter and does not pull orange. The blush is not really for me, so I would be more likely to go and find a blush that I really liked. And the highlight is good. I think it's fine. It's a little powdery, a little bit chunky. It's not glittery or shimmery in any way, but for me, I just wouldn't want to pay all of that money to have the one product that I like in the palette. I do like putting it on my eyes. I think it's beautiful that way. I can do the same with the bronzer and the same for the blush. I don't tend to use pink on my eyes that much, but just, it's one of those things I find when you have like a cheek palette that just gives you the three options. How likely is it that you're going to love all three of those options? I would much rather buy bronzer, blush, highlights separately than all together. maybe this just hits all the right buttons for you, in which case I think it is a good deal, because for $34, you divide that, it's just a little over $11 per product, which isn't bad for PUR, and you do get a good amount in each pan. There's no problem with like your brush crossing over between the pans or anything like that. But for me, you know, because the highlight is okay, the blush not so much, and the bronzer is on the lower end of okay, it's just not going to be for me. But I would love to hear what you think of this. Have you been using it as a bronzer? Have you been using the blush? What do you think of the highlight? All of that, put it in the comments down below. I do respond to every comment that I get, and I love hearing your opinions on these products to know whether I'm like way out in left field or if you guys think the same way that I do. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, I will put the link up here. It's my face. You can click on it and be subscribed. I try to do product reviews or other kinds of makeup, beauty, skincare videos about 3 times a week, and I'll put one of my other videos here so that you can watch it if you have not and you wish to watch more of my videos. That's all from me. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!